What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Locked in Sports, bringing you my 6 best bets for today, Saturday, March 23rd, in the NBA. You might notice my background's a bit different today. The lighting is very different, and I'm not talking quite as loud, not being as energetic. I'm on vacation. I'm working with what I got. I'm trying not to wake people up. Hopefully, by future videos, I'll have figured out a better system for recording these. But for now, just trying to do my research, get my picks out to you guys. The setting might be different, but the quality of the picks is as good as ever. They're locked in bets, and I'm really confident in them. But before I hop into today's picks, gotta go over yesterday. 2-2 day, not terrible. Wouldn't call it a losing day, but not a fun day. Right off the bat, 2 picks voided. Gary Trent didn't play. DeAndre Ayton didn't play. Those picks pushed, voided, whatever you want to call them. You should get your money back for them. Picks that did hit: Chris Murray, easy. He had like the first 4 points of the game. We did his first quarter points. He was over so quickly. No sweat bet right there. Like we knew it was going to be. And Chris Paul for over his PRA line. That one hit the beginning of the fourth. That was pretty low sweat. He was always going to hit that. He was looking solid. And once it didn't hit, George Niang just needed one more bucket at the end of the fourth and just didn't see it land. He was a point and a half shy of the line. Not a place we want to end, obviously, but it happens sometimes. It happens. It was a really low-scoring game. And D'Angelo Russell didn't assist. Didn't get a single assist for the full first half, coming off a hot streak where he'd been assisting like crazy. To just see him not even like really try to dish out too many dimes was really confusing and concerning. But yeah, it happens sometimes. He still almost gave us some hope in the second half, but yeah. So 2-2 day yesterday. The streak on the channel is we're at about 29-15 now, so still winning almost twice as much as we miss. Great streak. Still really proud of it. And as always, we're going for a 6-0 sweep today. And with the picks I got, with the games that are happening, I feel pretty confident in it. So let's get into it. My first pick of the day comes from the Kings versus Magic game, a game that I liked a lot of the lines from. And I'm taking Domantas Sabonis for over 21.5 rebounds plus assists. I wish I could take his rebounds line individually. As I was doing research for the video, his rebounds line was out at 13.5. Loved it, locked it in. It was my favorite pick of the day. As I'm going to record this, I checked again to make sure it was still there, to make sure it hadn't changed. It was gone, and I couldn't find it on any of the sports books that I use. So in the interest of fairness, I'm using a line that I do have access to, and I'm taking his over 21.5 rebounds plus assists, a line that I'm super confident in, a line that I think he could beat in rebounds alone, because he's been averaging 16.6 rebounds over his last 10. He grabbed 23 boards against Orlando in their last matchup. He's missed this line, the 13.5 rebound line, one time in all of March. Once. He's 10-1 for hitting it. I love his rebounds line. If it comes out at 13.5, 14.5, 15.5, anywhere in there, I would lock it in a heartbeat. I'd even consider taking it at like 16.5. I think it's such a good bet. If you don't have access to his rebounds alone, I think assists is the most reliable stat to add in there. You can take his PRA, but he's been hitting his rebounds plus assists more than he's been hitting his PRA line. I like just taking his rebounds plus assists line and trusting him to go crazy on rebounds like we know he's going to do, and just get some extra assists to make sure he crosses the line. So yeah, I'm taking Domantas Sabonis for over 21.5 rebounds plus assists. Sticking with the same game here, but on the other side of the ball, I'm taking Jalen Suggs for over 12.5 points. He's been averaging 14 in his last 10. He dropped 24 on the Kings in the last matchup. It was a really, really high scoring game. It went into double overtime, but Suggs was shooting really consistently. He was putting up good percentages in that game. And he's over this line in 4 of his last 5. Like I said, he's been averaging it recently, over it recently. I think it's a good spot to back him. I think that this line is too low for how he's been playing recently, and I think the matchup boost just gives him an extra edge. It's going to be a competitive game. He'll be shooting a lot of shots. I'm taking one more pick from this game. I know it's 3 picks from the same game, but all the lines for this game look so good. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I have more lines for this game that I'm going to give out because they all looked amazing. But for now, I am taking Malik Monk for over 16.5 points. He's averaging 19.1 in his last 10, like about 3 points over this line. He dropped 37 against the Magic last time on 60% shooting. So take away the fact that it was double overtime and everyone scored great. He shot 60%. 60%. That's crazy high. Even if this game doesn't go to overtime at all. The fact that he's shooting 60% against Orlando makes me feel really confident in him going over whatever his points line is, especially when it's as low as 16.5. And he's over this line 4 out of his last 5. Yeah, this is such an easy locked in bet. Malik Monk over 16.5 points. Next up, I'm taking an under. I know unders aren't fun, but when unders make you money, I think it's worth it, and this one definitely will. It's Bogdan Bogdanovic for under 18.5 points. Why am I backing his under? Because he's averaging 14.9 over his last 10 games. Pretty far below this line. He only averages 9.5 against the Hornets this season. Half. He averages half of this line. And he's only cleared this line once in his last 5 games. I know the Hornets don't have great defense, but Bogdan Bogdanovic can't capitalize on that. He's not good at scoring against them. He hasn't been a good scorer recently, and he's not going over this line. This is one of those picks that I love because no matter how you look at it, how he's playing recently or the matchup, it's great value, it's great odds. So I'm easily taking Bogdan Bogdanovic for under 18.5 points. Now to the other side of the ball for this game, I'm taking, honestly, a locked-in sports MVP, a guy here that we bet on a lot and hits for us a lot. I don't think he's missed for us so far. It's Vasilij Micic for over 13.5 points. Why? The same reason that we bet on him every single time. He's averaging 16 over his last 10. He had 13 against Atlanta earlier in the season, but that was in 20 minutes. He was only playing 20 minutes back then. He averages 31 now. We take him every time. He hits every time. He's been so consistent for us. And ever since the Hornets moved him up to their starting roster, to that starting rotation, he's been crushing his lines every single game. And the sports books haven't caught up yet. They had him at 10.5. We took him. They moved him to 11.5. We took him. Hit. Now he's at 13.5. I'm still taking him. He's averaging 16. Yeah. I'm easily taking Vasilij Micic, locked in sports MVP player, for over 13.5 points. And now for my 6th and final pick of the day, I'm taking Kevin Durant for over 4.5 first quarter points. He's been averaging 5 points per first quarter in his last 5, 6.5 points in the first quarter in his last 10, but against the Spurs, 10.5. He's averaging 10.5 first quarter points against the Spurs. He kills them. Wemby just doesn't have an answer for KD. It's valid. Wemby's a great player, but KD's got the experience. He knows how the game works. He's great. Of course he is. It's Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant has just been picking apart the Spurs really in the whole game, every time they play, but particularly in the first quarter. And I just feel more comfortable backing first quarter because of how well KD does there specifically and because it's a potential blowout. So if you want to take Kevin Durant's full game points, I considered it. I do like it. But I think his first quarter is too big of a lock to ignore. So because of that, I'm taking Kevin Durant for over 4.5 first quarter points. All right, those are my 6 best bets for today, Saturday, March 23rd in the NBA. Before I head out, I want to leave you guys with my cutting room floor picks. These are the picks that I dig up in research that I like. They don't make my top 6, but I still want to hand them out to you guys in case you want to add something to a parlay, you like the player, you just got a good gut feeling. I'll rattle them off real quick. First off, we have Mikal Bridges for over 17.5 points. He averages 25.5 against the Knicks. If there were ever a spot to back Mikal Bridges, it would be here. I don't like betting on Mikal Bridges. I'm handing out the pick because the stats back it up. I refuse to bet on Mikal Bridges again. He never hits. Dante DiVincenzo for over 4.5 first quarter points. He's been averaging 5.1 over his last 10 and 5.5 against the Nets. De'Aaron Fox for over 5.5 assists. He's averaging 6.3 over his last 10. He dropped 7 on Orlando last time they played. He's over in 3 of his last 5. I think it's a good spot for him. Paolo Banchero for over 21.5 points. He averages 21.8 in his last 10, but he dropped 43 on the Kings last time. He killed them. I know it went to double overtime, but he went double this line. Literally double it. However, he's only over this line in 1 of his last 5. So I think the matchup's great, but I just don't think Paolo's been there over his last 5 games. Keegan Murray, over 12.5 points. You're going to see a bit of a trend here with this Magic versus Kings game. Keegan Murray is averaging 11.7 over his last 10, but he scored 28 against the Magic last time in 62% shooting. Absolutely insane. But he's only over this line in 3 of his last 5. I have Harrison Barnes over 11.5 points. Same story here. He's been averaging 13.7 over his last 10. He dropped 17 on the Magic last time on 55% shooting. But he's only over in 3 of his last 5. Of all the players on the Kings to take for points, I liked Malik Monk the most. That's why I put him in the main video. But Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray are right there. I love the picks. I also like Tre Mann for over 22.5 PRA. He's averaging 12.4, 4.9, and 4.6 over his last 10. But he dropped 21, 8, and 6 on the Hawks in their last matchup. And he's over this line in 2 of his last 3 games. Pretty good spot to back Tre Mann if you're ever going to back him. I think he's a fun new player. I haven't seen a lot of him, but I like this line. I also like Ochai Agbaji. I'm sorry if I butchered his name. For over 19.5 PRA. He just dropped 12, 7, and 6 last night. And he plays for the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are littered with injuries. Both Quickly and Gary Trent Jr. were out and are listed as day-to-day, so we don't know if they're going to play. But Agbaji was one of only 2 Raptors to step up and take an increased workload and increased production because of his teammates being out. And the other Raptor to step up is Grady Dick. I like him for over 15.5 points because he dropped 21 last night. Those are the 2 Raptors where if Gary Trent Jr. and Emmanuel Quickly continue to be out, I love their lines because they're showing that they step up when those guys are out. The other Raptors have increased line. Their lines are all up because the sportsbooks think they're going to step up, but they haven't. So If you're going to back any Raptors, I like Abaji and Grady Dick the most. But that's all for my cutting room floor picks. Thank you guys so much for watching the whole video. I'm sorry about the bad lighting and about the different background and about me not being as excited and loud as usual. But thank you all very, very much for still continuing to watch the video, to support the channel, to trust in my picks. And yeah, I'm planning on making some non-best bets related content. So if you guys have suggestions for what you want to see on the channel, leave them down in the description. I would love to hear them. Sorry, not the description, the comments. Leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. But that's going to be all for today. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel. It really, really does help out. And if you're liking these picks, if you're making money with them, throw a sub, turn on notifications so you get notified when I release these videos. Like the video, it supports the channel more than you guys know. Leave a comment, share your own picks, share your parlays. If you're going to fade me, tell me. I'm cool with it. I just like knowing what you guys are taking so I can sweat out those picks with you. And that's all I got for you for now. So have a good one and let's make some money. Yeah.